Hey, you guys. I am excited to be here with you today. Uh-oh, I think my camera's dirty. Let me wipe it off. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that will be better. All right, I am in Arizona today, and I am here with Curtis, our son Curtis and Marisa. They just had their baby last night, so we are having a great time here. And we've been helping and watching their other baby, Graham. We're so excited to be here, but I'm excited to be here with you with Q&A. So, first of all, the first question that I have is, someone asked me this. They said, I do have a question, what you said about selling drams of oils. Are you sure? She's referring to when I talked about the retail model for if you're trying to open an international market or trying to work in an area where people just don't have the money to do the $100 a month. Because in order to get your paycheck and earn the money that you are earning for building your business, you have to be on 100 points a month. And in fact, if you want to get all the bonuses, you need to be at 150 points a month. Well, one thing that I didn't mention in that last one was you know how normally we're at 100 points a month, but if I'm working with a builder who really wants to build a business, I make sure that they know that they need to plan on committing to 150 points a month. Because that's a very, very minimal amount to be able to run a business and start a business for the possible capabilities for financial return. So that's totally doable and worth it for most people, but that's not the case with everyone. So when I talked about the retail model, if you want to know what that is, go look at last week's Facebook Live. It was on Tuesday, and we're doing Q&As, Facebook Lives every Tuesday morning now, Mountain Standard Time at 11 a.m. So glad to see you guys joining me. Good to have you on here, Suze and Sheen. Who else do I see? That's all I see so far. I know there are more of you, but I can't see all of it. Okay, so I talked about that, and I talked about how what they do is, let's say, and I use Mexico as an example, you have normally someone would buy 100 points a month or 150 points a month, and then they would, like if I'm having a builder in the United States or maybe in places where people do have the funds, then I'm going to try to find 3 builders on my front line, and each of us will be doing 150 points a month. Well, in some places like the US, it's a little harder to find builders because people are so leery of network marketing. In some countries, like in Mexico, it's a lot easier to find builders who are interested in building, but the money can be an issue for some people. So what we do is instead we teach them to find 5 builders. So they have 5 on their front line that each do 100 points a month. Because now you're covering your power of 3 bonus, but at the same time, everybody only has to buy 100 points a month, and that kind of saves them money. So what they do is they break those, they take the $100 of oils, they break it up into little sample size bottles, and they can sell those. Like, so a lot of people have little stores by the side of the street, or they'll sell in a store above their home, or things like that, or they'll sell to their friends. So the question today is, I do question what you said about selling drams of oils. Are you sure, she put in capitals, are you sure this is okay? It says in the policy that we cannot sell samples that do not come packaged from dōTERRA. There is a Blue Diamond, Lisa Zimmer, that teaches to sell rollers at events, but when I tried to get approved selling the empty rollers, and they make the bottles just like Lisa teaches, they would not approve that for my event. The retail solution sounds like a great plan. I just do not want to get in trouble with dōTERRA for it. Maybe you could answer this on your next live and go into more detail of how to get people to do it. Thank you for all you do. Okay, so this is the deal. This is the way people I totally understand your question, first of all, and I totally understand the concern. What a lot of people will do, because they have this concern, is they will do a professional account, or they'll do, a separate kind of account so that they feel comfortable selling those. Because when you buy your oils from dōTERRA, you check a box that says this is for personal use. So I'll tell you what I know, and I always, you guys know, I'm always absolutely all about doing it with the highest level of integrity. We have worked closely with dōTERRA over the years. Every time that we open a new country, we're trying to figure out ways to make it work for the country. We've done this several times. We do it with their knowledge. What happens is dōTERRA has, they have requirements in their documentation so that if someone is taking advantage of anything that they're doing. Let's say that you are selling doTERRA's oils, or you make your own creams and you put doTERRA oils in it, and you start claiming things that either makes doTERRA look bad or makes it look like you are in a business partnership with doTERRA, or you start saying things that are not FDA approved and it could get doTERRA in trouble, then they have the capability and the right, the legal right, to stop you from doing that. So they do have that choice. They could totally stop that from happening, but they also have a requirement in doTERRA that you have to have a certain number of enrollments every month, or you have to give up your team. So they don't require that either, although they could if they find that there are advantages being taken or something's being done that's harmful to doTERRA, if that makes sense. So yes, you want to be very careful. I love the question because I love that you're wanting to be careful. We move forward and we do it. And so you will have to decide if that's something that you feel comfortable with. I've never gone to doTERRA and said, hey, can I sell empty roller bottles at my event? But the reality is, and sometimes you might be getting a person who doesn't really know the exact rules or the exact requirements, because I have a right to sell empty roller bottles anytime I want. I can sell those anytime I want. I don't need permission from doTERRA to do that at my event. And I could have two businesses. I could have a doTERRA business where I sell doTERRA's essential oils, and I've got to abide by their guidelines for selling their oils and the claims I can and can't make. But I can also sell empty roller bottles. I can sell those on my Amazon account. I don't have an Amazon account where I sell, but if I did, I could do that. I do online marketing where I market things that are doTERRA, but I also market other things that are trainings, maybe something that I teach. Some of it might be about how to build network marketing. Some of it might be about something completely different. I might have a friend who is selling classes on how to do how to do tumbling or how to do massage. And I can absolutely help sell their trainings and make money doing that, whether I'm selling to doTERRA or anybody else. So actually, you have every right to sell whatever you want, but if you start claiming things about how it is doTERRA, so you do have to be careful about that. So as Lisa Zimmer teaches that she sells the roller bottles, you can absolutely do that. That's one thing, and I'm not sure who you talk to at doTERRA, but that sometimes people are nervous and they are worried about liability issues. For example, if I call and ask a customer service person if I can do XYZ, they might say no just because they're not sure and they can't be liable for having told me that it was okay. So just be careful about that. But I'll just tell you, in working with doTERRA and working with new countries, we have done that every single time we open a country. We did it in Budapest, we did it in Mexico, we did it in, it's done in Prague, so in the Czech Republic. So I know that you have to be careful, and I know that doTERRA has rights to stop something that you're doing if they feel like what you're doing is harmful. So we definitely are very careful. And every time I open a new country, one thing I do is I work very closely with corporate, because sometimes there are legal issues I might not be aware of, where if I start doing certain things in that country before we've established some sort of a not registration for the products, because we can totally sell, but there might be certain ways I need to do it so that it doesn't hurt the groundwork that doTERRA is trying to lay for when they go in and officially open the country. So I'm very careful about that. I totally understand the concern, and I'm always concerned about those things, but that is what we have done, and it's been fine. The other thing that we've done is when I would work with the spas in Las Vegas, so I'm not claiming across the board you can do whatever you want. Be very clear that what I'm saying is these are things that we have done. They work, they grow the business. We work closely with doTERRA, but I haven't gone to doTERRA and said, hey, can I do the retail model in Mexico or in Budapest or in Malaysia? We start doing the retail model. We make them aware of what we're doing. We let them know, hey, this is what we're doing with the leaders. Let us know if we need to change anything, that kind of thing. So notice, maybe that makes a difference, that I'm not saying, hey, can I do this? Because if I say, can I do this? And they say yes, then if there's a problem, now who's liable? They are. But if I say, hey, I am doing this, and let me know if there's let me know if you need me to change anything, maybe that's what makes the difference. So, and I don't mean to say at all, do what you want and ask questions later. That's not what I'm saying. So if you guys go to dōTERRA and start telling them, Teresa's saying we can do whatever we want, you are so in trouble with me, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying help your people, help them figure out a way. If somebody can't afford it, they have every right to gather money from other people. So whether for example, if I'm going to buy my $100 order every month and I don't have enough money, I have every right to go gather money from my sister and my brother and my mom and my next door neighbor. I can gather money and go buy that order from dōTERRA. dōTERRA doesn't have any claim on where I can gather that money. So however you want to set that up, just make sure you're doing it legally and that you're not trying to be sneaky or, jump through weird, crazy hoops to make sure that so that you're being sneaky. Just do it out in the open. Do what is going to help your people. But I'll just tell you, that's what we've done with every country. And that is, many of us, some of the leaders who have helped open countries, that's what we've done. One of the things, I haven't helped open Brazil. That's one country I did not help open. So I've been curious to talk to some of the people who did open Brazil to see what are some of the ways that they did. But I would not be surprised if they've done the retail model, because that's just something that we've always done. So, okay, let me see. I missed the beginning of this, but the difference that makes it takes the okay factor, what is it saying? Beginning of this, but the difference that makes Lisa Zimmerman's make and takes okay, the fact that the buyer is making the rollers versus the wellness advocate making the roller, that's a good question. That might be why that they're making the roller. But see, that's a really good point. I don't think you want to make the roller bottles ahead of time, tell them you're selling them dōTERRA blends, and sell them dōTERRA blends. So I would sell the empty roller bottles. I would absolutely do that. You have every right to sell that anytime you want. Just because you're a dōTERRA wellness advocate doesn't mean you can't go sell empty roller bottles. Doesn't mean you can't go sell, oil spray bottles or whatever, or oil stickers to put on bottles. You can totally do that. There are tons of dōTERRA wellness advocates who are selling the cases that essential oils go in, that kind of thing. So yeah, that might be the thing that makes the difference. But I also know there are a lot of people who absolutely make their own products. They make their own lip balm. They make their own skincare line, and they use essential oils that's like natural. They make sugar scrubs and put dōTERRA essential oils in them, and they sell them. So anybody can buy dōTERRA essential oils and put them in the products that they make or that they want. Just like when we work with high-end spas. We had one spa in Las Vegas who got excited about the essential oils for the spa, but it was a really high-end. It's called the M Resort. They wanted to buy our oils and put drops of lemon essential oil on their napkins for the restaurant so that the napkins would smell beautiful with this high-quality essential oil. So, you can use the bottles and the essential oils to do whatever you want. And then, of course, the M Resort is selling food at the restaurant, claiming to use dōTERRA essential oils in their napkins or for the fragrance. So you can totally do that. Just be very careful about the legalities of it and make sure you're not making claims about dōTERRA or that you're partnering with dōTERRA. Because I can say, I made this lip balm and I put dōTERRA essential oils in it. So I've got this high quality oil that I'm using. You can totally do that. Now, if you do anything that makes weird claims about dōTERRA, remember, dōTERRA does have the right to come in and make changes to what you're doing if there's something that you're doing that is hurting them, that the FDA says they don't like, or whatever. So do you see why they need to leave that door open? Because dōTERRA might be fine with something, and the FDA could come in anytime and say, or government regulations for a certain country could come in and say, hey, so this is the deal, you can't do this anymore. And if some of their wellness advocates are doing it, they have to come in and tell us, hey, you can't do that anymore. And they have the right because it's in all the writing. So anyway, so hopefully that answers that question. And let me go on to the next one. Let me see. I'm trying to get it open. Okay. The next question, you explained in your placements training session number 6, dynamic compression. You talked about every volume below 50 PV will be compressed to the next level so that we will get paid on additional levels. But I thought it was actually everything below 100 PV. And then at the Chedevies, they corrected me that it was everything below 75 PV. And now I learned from you that it's 50 PV. So I guess they lowered this during the past years. Thanks a lot in advance for some clarification on this part. Okay, let me teach you guys something. First of all, a lot of times we start spouting numbers that we've taught something 100 times, and then we get something stuck in our head. And so I'll just tell you what I do. Whenever something like this comes up, I'm like, dude, I have rechecked this 1,000 times. They didn't lower it. It's always been 50 as far as I understand. But sometimes, I mean, we've all done this. There are times I'll teach something. One time I was teaching at a class, and Dr. Hill was there. And I remember taking notes, copious notes from what Dr. Hill had said. And I was so excited. And I was kind of proud to be teaching in front of Dr. Hill. This was kind of near the beginning. And he was going to see what I was teaching. And I taught. And I did awesome. I rocked it. And I had the audience like laughing. And we were having a great time. And then at the end, Dr. Hill was telling me, that was a great job, blah, 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 whatever. I said something about I try to get the information accurate. I might have asked him or whatever. He said, well, actually, and he told me something that I had said that was scientific that was totally wrong. And I was so embarrassed, but absolutely glad that he shared that with me, because I want to make sure that I am totally honest, and we want to make sure our information is correct. So let me tell you what I always do. When this kind of question comes up, I don't care how many times I've checked with dōTERRA, how many times I've looked. I check again. So that's what I will do for you guys. I'll check again. And I'll tell you the other thing I do. When I'm with dōTERRA, when I'm calling dōTERRA, number one, don't ever think that the customer service people are the ones who can answer your questions about the comp plan or about how to build or whatever. They might be able to help you. I'm not saying they can't give you some good information. But the reality is, that's not what they're trained for. So take what they say with a grain of salt, realize they're trying to be helpful, and some will know more than others. But absolutely do not take their word for things that are about exactly how dōTERRA works, okay? They are there to take orders, and I am not. For those customer service people who are watching, you guys are amazing. Like they get trained on tons of stuff, so this isn't all they know. But what they have to know is how to take your orders, how to solve problems if you didn't get your order, if your order was wrong, all that stuff. And they do so much more. I get that. And I am not trying to lessen what they do. But that would honestly be like me asking a brand new elite questions about how the M1 account works, your second presidential account, okay? They might know a lot of stuff. And if they're really on top of things, they all their answers might be right. But that is not what they're trained on. That's not the only answer I'm going to trust, okay? So ask your questions, but I always go to the top source of the person who is in charge of it. And granted, I've been around long enough and I have a big enough team that sometimes it's a lot easier for me to get to those people than some people in dōTERRA. But that's also why I do this Facebook group, because I want to be able to help answer your questions, maybe give you some things that it would be harder for you guys to access. So what I always do is I go to the best source I know of to get the answer, who knows the answer to that question. And then I never take their word for it. Even though they're amazing, they're the top. I have to get 3 separate answers. And my poor executive assistant, Chelsea, she's awesome because she has learned. We don't just go by one person. We find 3 people who give us the exact same answer, who are in pretty high level positions, who know what they're talking about, and then we give you the answer. So I'm like 99.9% positive it is 50%, but I'm going to double check again because I always do that. And honestly, things can also change. And but we've all done that. We all have said numbers that we realize sometimes I might be talking and I might mean to say 50%, but I say 75%. I'm like, it's 75%, whatever. And I'm just going fast. And I think that I said what I meant to say. So, but I'll double check for you guys, make sure that that's the case. I'm almost positive it is 50%. And what she's referring to, now I'm gonna tell you where to find that video, because you guys, if you haven't watched the placements videos at the beginning of this Facebook Live when we first started this Facebook group, I'm telling you, it's powerful information. It's also the very first time that I've ever taught it in that, like where I'm teaching every single detail that I can think of. And so it is definitely a rough draft. I'm working on a training right now that is going to be the beginner placements, and it's in way more details, way better order, and it's way more organized. So that will be coming out, and I'll make sure you guys are aware of that. But I want to qualify this again, because she said, you explained in your placements training session number 6, so it was the 6th video that I did in this Facebook group. So if you go to the very beginning of the Facebook group, there are 8 videos that I did, Facebook Lives, on how to place. So if you need help on placements, I am telling you, go watch that. Be patient with me, because it really is the rough draft of the first time I put it in that order. Usually I'm training 4 hours on placements. And so we know that like the back of our hand. We do it like clockwork, and we know the order things need to be in to teach what we need to teach in 4 hours, but we never get through it all. So this was the first time I did 8 sessions that were like an hour, hour and a half or more. So this is a lot of training, teaches you a lot of details, and sometimes I repeat myself. So anyway, that was the beginning of getting ready to create an awesome course on placements for you. That way, those of you who want to know what she's talking about, you can go find it. She said, and you talked about every volume below 50 PV will be compressed to the next level. So I'm not going to go into detail right here because it's complicated, but I hopefully made it easy to understand, because I know how it can be complicated, and I've trained it so many times where people are confused, and we figured out how to do it in a way that people can understand. Oh my goodness, I get it now. So go check that out, and I'll keep you posted and let you know whether it's 50%. I'm sure it's 50%. Anyway, so and maybe I can figure out why people are saying different numbers, and I'll tell you what they're talking about, because maybe we're actually talking about something slightly different. Sometimes that's the case. I had a phone call coming in. I always forget to do disturb. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much. The last question, will you be hosting or offering any training on the Tuesday before the convention? I wasn't necessarily planning on it, but now that we have this whole online training, we do this Q&A, we are getting way more heavily into adding value, making sure that you guys are trained. If you guys would like me to do a Tuesday training before convention, you tell me right now, because if we're going to do it, we got to get it ready, and I will let you know within 2 weeks. I will let you know by the 15th of August. If that's too late, you let me know right now. Even if we just need to get a small room, I know a lot of you guys already have your tickets to convention, and some of you are thinking, I can't come earlier. If there's another time during convention we could do it that doesn't interfere, I am totally happy to do something. I'm happy to do something at my home. I'm happy to do something at, we just bought a property that's like 25 acres. We'd have tons of room. We could bring chairs out there and a sound equipment. I don't know. If you guys want that, we will put something together quickly. So just let me know, because we've got to have enough interest for me to make sure that we put that together. And you tell me what you want trained on. I'll do placements. I'll do how to build online. If you guys want it just online, in fact, I'll post a video on my on the Facebook group that we have on how to build online. I'll post on there and see what they want, because I'll tell you what, whoever shouts the loudest, that's what we're doing. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't want online, I want something else, then you better let me know. Say something. So tell me what you guys want, and I'm excited to see you guys at convention. Hopefully I'll get to see you. Please come up and see me. I know some people think, she's too busy, too many people coming. No, I love to meet you guys. I love it. And if that makes me late to a class, then that's okay too. Anyway, love you guys, and I'll see you again next week. Okay, bye.